Yeah, I mean Matt here. So, being as it's close to some Survivor Series, and I already talked about the Bret Hart Shawn Michaels DVD that's coming out, and my thoughts on the whole Montreal screwjob thing in '97. Um, there's one other in particular uh, um, feud that happened back in 2001. And of course, that is the whole Alliance versus WWF. And I just wanted to make this video because I thought, it was kind of an interesting story. We had not only WCW but ECW. Now, when I was a kid, there were two main uh, wrestling shows, wrestling organizations, WWF and WCW. And it wasn't until I was in grade 9 that I heard about ECW, which was a lot, no, which was completely different from the two organizations. So in 2001, um, they both got together. They both got together and they decided that they were gonna go against WWF. So here, it's just one of those things where you didn't know what was gonna happen, and that I figured WWF was gonna win, but there was always that what if, you know. I mean, I remember when Taz debuted, and before that, or even, and not knowing that these guys, oh, and of course, Rhino, and I didn't find out till years later, but I was watching a taped episode of ECW that my older brother lent me, and Lito was actually a part of ECW. So it was it was a really good way to bring those together, but it was also who's better? Is it gonna be ECW and WCW or WWF? And I always was loyal to the WWF. And as a 17-year-old, as a 17-year-old, I was very hooked into what was going to happen. And then Steve Austin, later, before Survivor Series, joined the Alliance. And it's kind of interesting because he did work for both ECW and WCW. So, I mean, it was a really good feud. I probably would have changed it a bit, seeing as how you had NWO afterwards, and then Ric Flair came in before NWO. You had Scott Steiner, Hulk Hogan, for fuck's sake, NWO of Hulk Hogan came back at No Way Out, and it was just one of those crazy things. I don't necessarily think that the Alliance should have stuck around for very long, or because Triple H had to come back, and you could have brought the Alliance and NWO, but then it would have been actually 3 different wars, or like it would not have made sense. But I definitely wish that Randy Savage would have came back, and it's a damn shame that he never got to do that chance. and he will never ever. We will never ever get to see that chance because he was, if not, the same ranks as Hulk Hogan. In fact, if it were up to me, I would have rather seen at WrestleMania 18, if you were gonna have that happen, you know, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage versus Steve Austin and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. That would have been awesome. I don't know if it was a good idea to have Hogan face The Rock and Scott Hall face Austin and not have Kevin Nash do anything while interfere in Austin's match. But there, you know, it's just one of those things. And of course, Benoit and Eddie Guerrero were not to be seen. They were not in the storyline when the alliance happened, so that was a shame as well. And then having Goldberg come in later that year. Now, I think that Goldberg, they didn't really need him because what for? I don't think that would have worked as well. But there was just that moment where you didn't know what was going to happen on Raw after Survivor Series. And when you saw Monday Night Raw and you saw Vince turn face for one night, that was awesome. Because then you had Ric Flair come out, and that's what started the Flair-McMahon feud. And it was just, you know, to relive that, you know, that would be awesome. Because it was just an amazing feud. I'm not a Flair fan, but that was probably one of the best feuds that year. So yeah, I mean, it was just one of the Survivor Series, one of the two Survivor Series that really stood out in my mind, and I thought I would do a video on that. So, anyways, that's it for me. Later.